Hello, friends. Welcome to the 7th chapter in the 4th treatise, and this one is titled An End to Learning. So we start with the idea of judgment and its relationship to Christ consciousness. Right off the bat, we're told in verse 1, Christ consciousness will be temporary or sustainable depending on your ability to refrain from judgment. The highlighting there is mine. So we've talked about judgment since this course first started, but now we're zeroing in on what that actually does to your process at this point in time. In fact, you might ask the question, isn't judgment essential to discernment? I mean, come on, don't I have to make good decisions here in this life? And the answer is that judgment isn't bad, but it makes your perceptions false. Because we have established conditioning and mental constructs in our mind that the mind is using to process what's happening and to make that discernment. So the ego thought system gets in the way. Judging is a function of the mind. And the mind pulls you away from the heart and Christ consciousness. So the old Bible story of you can't serve two masters. You can't come from the mind and the heart. You have to choose. Am I going to let the mind lead the way here, or am I going to let the heart lead the way? And when the mind leads the way, fear and judgment are its constant companions. And fear and judgment will block Christ consciousness. Just boom, that's it, you're done. You don't get Christ consciousness because they're not in that nature. So this chapter goes on to describe for us the unique opportunity that we have right now. You're living in an unprecedented time when humans have the capacity to shift from accumulating knowledge to experiencing knowingness. Now, again, this is my translation of what the text is telling us. So the mind accumulates knowledge. It learns things both from experience and from books and videos and other people. And it accumulates this body of knowledge. And when it comes time to make a decision, similar to the judge in the picture here, it weighs all the evidence and it makes a decision. So the heart, on the other hand, has a completely different approach, and that's the approach that we're trying to shift to here, trying to overcome the momentum of functioning in the way of the judge that accumulates all the evidence and then tries to make a good evaluation. So in this new way, we experience the phenomenon of knowingness, suspending judgment and fear, not depending on the mental concepts that provide a framework for our lives, but we are able to see the truth through direct and observable means as we are suspending judgment and suspending fear. So it becomes more of an experience, a present moment experience, a relationship to whatever is happening, than it is this weighing and evaluating information. Verse 3 tells us, the understanding of the unity that creates and sustains all living things will now be close to the surface of consciousness as was during the time of the Holy Spirit, the understanding that man is infused with spirit. So if you'll remember back to the story in the Bible about when the doves of the Holy Spirit descended, that was when the time of the Holy Spirit was ushered in. And humans actually woke up to the idea that, wait a minute, there might be something sacred in me. And as the Holy Spirit started to work, as we became more and more aware of the fact that there was this divine voice within, or this divine component, it became then available on a mass level. And now we're moving into a new age, a new time where the recognition and the experience of the unity, the oneness of all things is available to us for the first time, not just on a mental level, not just on a belief level, but on actual experiencing the oneness and the unity on that level. So that's what's available to us right now. And that's why we're all here doing this, is because we are feeling that growing awareness that's wanting to come forth in us like a natural pull toward this movement. In verse 4, the perfect world will be revealed to them through what they can envision, imagine, and desire without judgment. So this verse is talking about those who are willing to suspend judgment and go into this time of unity and experience unity itself. So the world that we experience will change as we are able to suspend judgment and fear and move from this place of the heart. This phenomenon is available to everybody. It's not just us holy, sacred seekers. Science, technology, art, and literature will keep getting closer to the truth through those who allow themselves to experience revelation. So revelation has actually been available. We have evidence of it through great works of literature, scientific discoveries, music. All the arts seem to be the place, and science, and of course some philosophy as well, through those people who were able to suspend judgment and fear long enough to go to that place where revelation could happen. It's not like the place where revelation could happen is only now available. It's always been available. It's just that the collective of humanity, as well as individuals, are at the point in maturity now where we really want to embrace this part of the human experience. So the revelation's only possible when judgment and fear are suspended. Well, there you go, because if you are using judgment and fear, then you are coming from the mental constructs, from the whole system that the ego thought system had established, and you're not experiencing that present moment revelation that comes from unity. So the ego thought system had to create an unreal reality since it's unable to join truth with consciousness. This is important to understand, I think. When we think that we're this identity, this character that we're playing in this world, and we developed this ego thought system in order to make sense of everything, it had to create a reality that wasn't true, because the ego thought system is just a mental construct that we came up with, and it doesn't have the ability, it's not real, it doesn't have any substance, so it can't join with truth. So it didn't have an alternative, but it had to come up with a false reality. Verse 5, your heart has now heard the appeal of this course and worked with your mind to bring about the acceptance of the truth. A truth your heart has always known, but has been unable to free you to accept without the mind's cooperation. And to me, that's a comfort to see and hear. It's not like, you've been a big dummy, that you haven't gotten it so far. It's that, like the caterpillar who is at a certain stage of development, the mind wasn't cooperating with you to have this information and this ability previously, but now it is, and that's because of the work that you've done in A Course of Love so far, and perhaps in other spiritual teachings as well, to actually have the experience of the heart and recognize that the heart and the brain are different things, and that the heart can be trusted. So now that you have the mind's cooperation, because you're at this stage in your development, the mind can relearn the thought system of truth. Yay! Mind, heart, and body now exist in harmony. So a lot of times this question arises. Does this mean that optimum conditions will exist for me? No sickness, discomfort, or challenges? Because really that's primarily the reason why most of us began a spiritual path, is because we wanted to be wiser about life and experience more relief from the suffering. That's been the big call to awaken, is like, this is uncomfortable. I don't like this. There's got to be something better. Let me look and see. So that's, the spiritual path in a nutshell, like, get rid of the suffering. So that question is normal for that to arise. And here's the part of that is important to understand. If you say to yourself, well, if I have a perfect job and I have perfect health and I have a great spouse and I have enough money and I have a nice home and I live in a beautiful place and I have good friends, then my life will be providing me with the optimum conditions for spiritual development, because I won't have to worry about any of that stuff. But on the contrary, what you realize is, and what we're being asked to realize in this section, is that whatever is showing up in your life is the optimum condition for your learning right now. Even if it includes discomfort and what we think of as suffering and sickness or whatever is showing itself, it absolutely is the optimum learning condition for you right now. Verse 7, you will realize that what is optimal to your learning, but you will also realize that an end to your learning is in sight. So this is giving us the recognition that you might be experiencing discomfort now, and it might happen for a while until your experiences actually lead you to where you need to go in order to really embody this. And then once that happens, once you really get it, then there won't be any need. Once you've let go of the things that you're attached to that are creating this situation, then you won't need to experience them in that degree any longer. Now, as long as you're having the human experiences, things are going to happen. Bodies get old. Things happen in life. That's just the way that it's set up. But there will be no need to suffer any longer. And I won't go into that in great detail, because it's important to get this particular part of it. And I'll just continue here. Being in harmony with whatever shows up and learning its lessons is your highest good. This acceptance will return you to harmony. You can trust what is happening as being a condition of learning for your ultimate benefit. And if you look back in your life, you can see, wait, if I hadn't experienced that, I would not have been moving in this direction. I can look back and see that, everything that happened to me that I learned from was ultimately for my highest good. So you can trust that whatever's happening now is also for your highest good. And whatever happens in the future will be for your highest good. So you can quit trying to manage all of that and just show up for what's here. Verse 7, the same is true for all conditions of all learning everywhere. The conditions are perfect for optimal learning. This is the nature of the universe. These conditions are perfect not only for individual learning, but for shared learning, learning in community, and learning as a species. So, that pretty much summarizes everything. That whatever happens, whatever is occurring, whatever this condition is, you can trust. It is there for optimal learning, because that's how the universe works. There's nobody against us. There's no storm that I have to learn how to navigate. The storm that is here for me, for my benefit. Once learning has occurred, the conditions of learning won't be needed. Some will choose to continue to learn through the full variety of human experience, even when it's not necessary. So what does that mean? That's like some people will choose to learn still through times of discomfort, times of challenge, the whole managing my life thing. In other words, they will choose to gain knowledge through accumulating knowledge rather than through direct knowing. And once you've seen the truth, it's a simple choice. So this isn't a problem for anybody who has seen, okay, this is what's really going on, and I'm still really into the whole human thing, and I love learning, and I love accumulating information and knowledge, and I want to still do that, and that's fine. Because if your life is guided by love, it's going to be joyous, no matter what choices you make. And if your spirit is in harmony with the choices that you make, who cares what they are? Because as you learn to work with your spirit and your heart, then choices will be no-brainers. Literally, no-brainers. If you choose to live from unity, every moment is fresh as you experience life through discovery. So it's like revealed to you. You live in a world of revelation. And you'll get more information on this as we continue. And we end this chapter with the promise of verse 9. But the choice many of you will make, the choice to move from learning to creating, will create a new world. So we don't know what that world is like. I put this picture on there because it sure looks like a new world. All those moons. We don't know what it will be like, and it doesn't matter. And it's not about a physical world. It's about the physical world will start reflecting more accurately our inner world, which will be a place of unity and where we are united with all that is and with the heart leading the way. So thank you for joining me. I wish you well, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the next chapter.